Welcome. My name is Colleen Tauke and I'm the sewing specialist at Fons & Porter. In this tutorial, we will talk about the quilt called Selkie. To get a copy of this pattern or purchase it at our website, it's a great one to use a lot of really dynamic fabrics with a great navy blue. So we're going to start with 10-inch squares, and you'll need 29 of the 10-inch squares. And then we're going to pair them all up with that navy blue you see behind me. And in order to produce all of the squares, or the triangle squares, very quickly and very efficiently, we're going to use the technique called 8 at a time. So we're going to pair a navy with a print fabric, and then we're going to come in and we're going to mark all of our fabric, print fabrics on the back side. We're going to do a diagonal corner to corner, and I'm just going to use I'm using a marking tool that is my favorite. It's called a friction pen. You may have your favorite, whichever you'd like to prefer. Corner to corner that direction, and then come in and use the diagonal going the opposite direction. We're going to mark that one also. So corner to corner. This is going to be our cutting line, so we're going to stitch a 1/4 inch on each side of that marked line. And I've got one prepared and ready. What I'm going to do is put in just a few pins perpendicular to where my stitching is going to be. That will hold this 10-inch square from shifting. We're going to stitch in a large X across our fabric, like this. You see the red stitching, you wouldn't use red, but in order for you to see it well, I've stitched 1/4 inch on each side of the diagonals that we put into the block. And now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this apart, and it's going to yield 8 triangle squares. So I've laid it on a rotating mat just so that I won't have to disturb my fabrics as I'm cutting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut like a window pane, top to bottom and across the center. It's a 10-inch block, half is 5, so I'm going to line up the 5-inch mark along the outer edge here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it should be right dead center. So we're going to cut this. Then we're going to not disturb our fabrics. We're going to rotate it. If you don't have a rotating mat, you could actually move the mat like the one underneath here, but the rotating mat, a lot of us have picked up and we don't use very often, and it's utilized perfectly here. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure we hold still. Cut down through this direction, and we need to make 2 more cuts. Remember that diagonal line that we put in there? Now that becomes also a cutting line for us, so we can guide corner to corner, just like this. And we can rotate our mat again and go diagonally, corner to corner. Triangle squares are fun and have a lot of versatility because you can arrange them in a lot of different patterns. Great way to utilize the 10-inch square to make 8 of them at once. So now when I open these, you'll see there's a triangle square here. Its cousin across the line here and all the way around. Now you're going to want to take your triangle squares once you have them all created and make sure that you always take the time to press. So we're going to take one over here and we're going to heat set that seam. Make sure you always press our seams towards the dark. So out to create a nice crisp triangle square. Now, once you've gone down through all 29 fabrics and created all of your triangle squares, now it's time to follow the diagram in the pattern. You'll see that they are set in with navy blue fabrics. In the diagrams, you can't see it so much here, but the navy blue that makes that large triangle at the top and the one at the bottom is actually made from joining pieces with squares and rectangles of background fabric or blue. So I've got a few of the pieces here. You'll cut some squares, rectangles of different lengths like this, and the angles are created when you bring in triangles and place the blue in just the right position. You'll create the angle that goes down through this quilt. So the diagrams that come with the pattern are perfect for you to follow to create this wonderful design. Now, the tip is, when you're laying this out, I would create the top 1/3 of the quilt in rows, and then stop, create the next third as a big long section, and then the last one. So you wouldn't have to drag the entire quilt through the machine as you add each row. It would be a lot less stressful in the end. For more of our quilt videos, visit our website. Thanks for joining me today.